Hello, welcome back to another episode of cedh bling builds. Sorry I've been away for a little bit. Got caught up with some things. But we're back, and we're back with Hinata, the Dawn Crown. This jeskai Kirin with Flample is not an infinite mana outlet in the command zone. So what does this Kirin want to do? It wants to gain value while being in the match by slightly taxing your opponents, right? And then making your like X spells and your counter spells a little bit cheaper, which could be problematic if you have an opponent that's just like spot removal, tribal. So that's where this deck kind of falls short. Because you do want to take advantage of some of these juicy X spells, but you don't want to get stuck with them in your hand because Hinata, you got to pay like 800 commander tax because it just keeps getting killed. So let's go over the deck and see what we got. Why pick this over like an Elsha or Kaikar or any jeskai partner combination? I don't know. Maybe we want to take it easy, right? So the power level's reduced. This is probably the type of deck I'd bring to a pod that just wants to play a longer game. Not everyone in the pod is exactly like a sweat. And so that's the type of pod I'll probably bring this to. Even though it does have some of the gross cedh combos present, it's just the power level of Hinata isn't as strong as another jeskai commander options. And so let's get into the deck. You know how we do things on this channel? We gotta have both arts of the card. We gotta have both arts, always both arts. And some of the cards that Hinata wants to take advantage of. You have a card like a Disorder in the Court for X and Azorius, instant speed. It's in blue, so you can not intuition, you could merchant scroll into it. But you just want to, it's pretty much like a flicker. You're gonna flicker everything on the board. Everything's gonna go away. And so for a simple white and a blue, if not is on board, of course, you can get rid of all the disgusting things that the Winota deck luck sacked into. You can Thanos snap away all the tokens that your friends, the token proliferate deck put out, and then continue your combo from there. Under the card, we have, I think, a Curse of Swine. And for X, blue, you could finger bang as many of your opponent's creatures, right, for blue with Hinata on board, and turn them into 2/2 pigs. Oink, oink. That's sorcery speed, but it's a nice board wipe in a Hinata deck. We have Heliod's Intervention, again with Hinata on board. For white and a white, you could flush all the disgusting Staxy Rule of Law, heuristic studies. They're gonna get you don't have to pay. You're gonna have to pay the one. All the problematic. Oh, your opponent's mana rocks, right? If they're outpacing you, oh my god. Mamma mia. In a game of cedh, that could be more devastating than an Armageddon in some regards, right? Many times in my over decades long playing Commander, I can easily have more rocks present than lands. I'm fine with like 3 lands on board as long as I have a couple of rocks. So Heliod's Intervention, Mamma mia. Of course, the Hinata effect on the second ability, it doesn't do anything. You're gonna have to pay that the hard way. Aurella's Fury is a neat card, right? For red and a white with Hinata on board, of course. You're pretty much gonna silence all your opponents, right? And then you combo off, and I guess you could flush away all their dorks or their 1/1s as an added bonus. But yeah, another card that's kind of like silence is a Reality Spasm for blue. If Hinata is on board, you can silence your opponents before you go off. And this is a little bit better because you do that at the end of the at the end step of right before your turn, or you can just use it as a way to ramp. So all those cards are neat if Hinata's on board. They get a lot worse if your Hinata cannot stick around. A lot worse. So that's something to consider. But fortunately, it's not like they're XXX blue spells, So if the Hinata's not present, they can still do things. In this deck, we'll also have the Dualcaster Mage Twin Flame combo. Right, Dualcaster Mage Twin Flame. But because we are playing Hinata, we have access to a Sublime Epiphany, which turns into a really, really cool card for pretty much blue. Because Sublime Epiphany has 5 modes. One of them conflicts with the counter target spell. I think the counter target ability or triggered ability. And you could just catch the one opponent, bam! They do something stupid, and you just Sublime Epiphany them, and get all the other modes. So most of the time, with Hinata on board, you're going to be playing blue. And then because of, where is it? The create a token that's a copy of a target creature you control. It also synergizes well with a Dualcaster Mage Arena. I don't run the other Twin Flame. I forget the name, because I don't know. Let's see how this goes. So this is the second Twin Flame. I don't know if I need the third Twin Flame. Spellseeker in the deck. Don't bother me about the art. I don't like the Judge one. I like this Spellseeker. It has a special meaning to me. But there's a neat little line that we can do with Spellseeker. And pretty much if that Spellseeker's in hand, you land the Spellseeker, look up the Ephemerate. You cast the Ephemerate targeting the Spellseeker. The Spellseeker will then find Final Fortune. You cast the Final Fortune, taking your extra turn. You're going to rebound, flicker the Spellseeker once again to find your Enlightened Tutor, which will find an Underworld Breach and do Underworld Breach things from there. Trying to have a full graveyard, right? Just because you have the Spellseeker in hand, turn 1 doesn't mean your Underworld Breach is ready, lad. We have Intuition. Because we're in Jeskai, we have the grossest Intuition pile, which is Intuition. You're going to pick either an Underworld Breach, an LED, Savine's Reclamation, and then you're going to give it to the worst opponent. Chances are they're going to give you the LED, but it's fine, because you found a way to just bring it the, with the Savine's Reclamation and the Underworld Breach in the graveyard, flash it back, you bring these 2 back, you find yourself an Underworld Breach line. And since we're doing Underworld Breach lines, we have the Brain Freeze. It could be a win condition. Don't bank on that, but it's more so a way to fuel our graveyard while doing Underworld Breach things. Another card, another combo that I was put onto is you find some prisoners because it destroys a target artifact for 1 red mana if Hinata's on board. Just kidding. Because exiling the top 3 of an opponent's library, target opponent's library, with Hinata's on board, it's just 1 red. But if we have the fuel during an Underworld Bleach loop, we could mill ourselves out. This is YOLO. This is a meme. And you could try to find the Thassa's Oracle from your opponent and cast their Thassa's Oracle for the win. This is your last resort, right? This is the plan Z. Yeah, let's see how it goes. It's a meme, so, but maybe the meme has potential to be more than just a dream, right? Moving along to our counters package, we'll start things off with our soft counters. We have the Pyroblast, Red Elemental Blast, a Deflecting Swat, and a Silence. Now Hinata makes these counter spells like things like Delay, Negate, Arcane Denial, 1 CMC cheaper, right? It reduces the cost of that generic. So a mana drain counter storm counter spell are not amazing in this deck. You know, I'd rather have like the negate over a counter spell in this deck, because of that cost reduction. So we're gonna have a delay in the deck because it's 1 CMC. It turns to a 1 CMC counterspell, easy. Force of Negation is fine. You know, we could play it for free on our opponent's turns. But if all else fails for blue, it turns into a negate. What can you do? But it's something. Especially, you kind of want to have these free spells available to you on your opponent's turn, because chances are they're going to exhaust themselves trying to get rid of the Hinata, because Hinata is just one of these commanders that it has to be on board. We have a Miscast, Flusterstorm, Swan Song, Dispel, Mental Misstep, Fierce Guardianship, Force of Will, and a Pact of Negation. For our draw package, we have the a lot of people have been cutting like the single blue mana cantrips from their builds. I don't like not having them in my decks. I need to be able to just chip away at my deck. This is just a personal preference. So we have the OG Brainstorm, OG Get Probe, OG Preordain, and OG Ponder. Not super heavy on the wheels. If my opponents are gonna exhaust themselves spending resources, I don't want to necessarily refuel them all the time. So we just have the Wheel of Fortune and a Time Twister. We're not in infinite mana, infinite draw, so there's no Time Twister loops, but there's nothing better than opening with a Time Twister and rocks. You can't beat it. It's orgasmic. Our tutor package, we have a Gamble. We saw earlier the Enlightened Tutor. We have a Merchant Scroll, a shit ton of blue instants. We have a Step Through. At its worst, it's a 3 white. At its worst, it's 1 3 white. At its worst, it's 1 blue with Hinata out to bounce 2 creatures at sorcery speed. At its best, it's a way to find a Dualcaster Mage. It's a way to find Spellseeker or Drannith Magistrate, right? We have a Mystical Tutor, and that is that. Now, our removal package, we have a Swords to Plowshare and a Cyclonic Rift. But we also have a bunch of these dockside doublers, like a Snap, Geist Wave, and Alchemist Retrieval. Now, these are important because with Hinata out, it's one less, right? But it acts as a way to kind of like protect your Hinata if all else fails, right? So we have cards that have some versatility to them, as dockside doublers, as spot removal for the turn we go off for the the obnoxious stacks pieces, and then again at its worst, it's a way to protect our Hinata. Instead of paying the commander tax, you can just bounce it, maybe draw a card off of it, easy peasy. For our rituals, we have a Rite of Flame and a Jessica's Will. Now for the rest, our creatures, we have a Simian Spirit Guide, a Dockside Extortionist, Imperial Recruiter, Ranger Captain of Eos, and some of his friends, which are Ragavan and an Esper Sentinel. Some cock blockers, we have a Draneth Magistrate and a Gilded Drake. Now, a Gilded Drake can get really down and dirty in this deck with all those snap sort of cards. For our enchantments, we have a simple Mystic Remora and a Rhystic Study. And no Smothering Tithe. I'm not a fan of it. I sold mine a long time ago. It's just 4 CMC. It's whatever. It might actually be nice in this deck because you're playing a slower game, right? But then the treasure really doesn't do anything, right? Because Hinata is already a cost reducer, so, yeah. So Smothering Tithe is your call. I'm not a fan of the card. Our rocks, we have a Lotus Petal and a Jewel Lotus. We have an Arcane Signet, a Felwar Stone. We're in Jeskai colors, blue, red, white, really popular. Talisman of Creativity and Talisman of Progress. No, red, white rock, not that important. We have a Chrome Mox, a Mox Opal. Our artifact count is okay enough for us to pull off a Mox Opal and a Mox Diamond. For our colorless rocks, we have the Mana Vault, Soul Ring, and a Mana Crypt. Now, wrapping things up with our land, we have all 9 Fetcherinos, of course. And we have our dual shocks, respectively. And for our basics, no basic mountain, not necessary. The worst that can happen to me is like getting Blood Mooned, or my Winota opponent, again, Luxax into a Magus of the Moon. So we will have the planes. I don't want to get stuck. I don't want to get slowed down because of the fucking Winota player Luxacking into the Magus of the Moon. So we have to have the planes. And so I made some comments about 3-color decks dropping these, but I ran out of slots. So I guess I can't put these on the secondary market just yet. Right, I used up as many of the multi-color lands as I could, as many of the rainbow lands as I could. So we have a Training Center, a Fiery Islet, Sea of Clouds. For utility, we have a Ancient Tomb, Otawada, which is amazing because it's just a way to uncounterable. Right? You don't have to worry about trick binds or stifles. I haven't seen those in a very long time. Maybe they become some tech card eventually. But it's good just to, again, finger bang the stacks piece before you go off. And then in Rainbow Lands, we have the Gemstone Cavern, Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, Forbidden Orchard. I don't care about giving my opponents things. I'm not swinging. I'm just having Hinata sit its fat ass there. Mana Confluence, and, of course, the City of Brass. And there you have it. Hinata, the Dawn crowned in 2022. I like the deck. It's fine. It's fine for, like I said, when you have the opponents that bitch and whine too much, that they don't want to play with you because you're too sweaty for them. So you could like slow it down a little bit, and then run this. What's the name of that form? Battlecruiser, right? Is this like a battlecruiser mid range? I don't think so. I don't really know what that means. But it's like just a mid-range deck that could just stick around. Doesn't really have to do anything, and it's fine for what it is. There are better Jeskai commanders that are more combo oriented. But for what Hinata is designed to do, the deck is fine. Thanks so much, and catch you later.